Hello, everybody. Another very warm good morning to you from Budapest. We're here at the Hungaroring, and we're about to head into FP2 of the WTCR FIA World Touring Car Cup, presented by Oscaro. So, local home hero Norby Michelitz kicked off FP1 very, very nicely, already faster than his fastest lap last year. FP2 is beginning, and I'm here with Dario Desposito. We have a wild card this weekend, or two wild cards in fact, and one of them is Attila Tashi. Dario, you're looking after Attila, local Attila the Hun, isn't he? Now, he won here last year in TCR International. He likes it here an awful lot. Tell us more about the team and your feelings for this weekend.
Yeah, just to let you know, is one shot. So Attila will take part in the European Championship. It will start from next week in Paul Ricard. For him, is a good option because he's Hungarian. Last year he was really fast here. He knows very well the TCR car. And he should be also, let me say, a shakedown for the season. And he's very young, he's 19. He has a lot of things to learn, but he's a nice guy. The team is coming from Hong Kong. Everybody is really motivated in order to help him, in order to do the best. But the field, you know, is very, very, very difficult here to be in front. A lot of fast driver. We try to do our best in order to help him enjoy.
Already got a very good pedigree behind him, and we can already hear the fans kicking off. But they're not only supporting Norby, are they? We have 5 representing Hungary this weekend, so I'm sure he's got a lot of support.
Yeah, and you know the Hungarian guys are very, very warm. So today is just the beginning of the day, but you will see during qualifying. I don't know this year, but I hope that for the future, Attila should be the new local hero.
Lovely. Thank you very much, Dario.
Thank you. Bye.
Dario, entertaining as ever. Thank you very much indeed to Dario Desposito. Thank you to Alex Legui, Martin Haven and Harry Volkard in the booth. And there is Attila Tassi's car. The family clearly in the wine business in some way, shape or form. Also sponsored by Hell Energy Drink. And as Dario was saying, KCMG running 2 cars in the TCR Europe Series for the 18-year-old Attila Tassi, and for Great Britain's Josh Files, who is the double reigning TCR Germany champion. And KCMG will be running that predominantly with a lot of help. There's a lot of very familiar Yas Sport faces there, not least Dario Desposito. So as ever, that experience is there to help teams. KCMG, well known for sports car racing. They're a Hong Kong-based team, but not particularly fluent in the language of front-wheel drive touring cars.
Yeah, but they've got two experienced guys there. Like you say, Tassi's obviously quite new to this, but Josh Files, the young guy from England, obviously he's done a great job in TCR Germany, and to date has actually had some fantastic results in all the championships he's raced in. So he's got good front-wheel drive experience on board there, and you know they'll be up there, I'm sure, in TCR Europe. Yeah.
And as Dario said, last year in the TCR International Series, although Norby Michelitz was the pole man, set the fastest race lap and the fastest qualifying lap, it was Attila Tassi who won both races. So he has got form here. Tassi wasn't wildly fast in free practice 1, but we'll have to wait and see how it goes. So there you can see most of our 27 cars ready to rush out on track for the second of our free practice periods. And this 30-minute session from 10:10 to 10:40. Then we have a break until qualifying at 12:30 Central European time. And that will be a straight 30-minute qualifying session. I understand, incidentally, that the whole Hungaroring pit complex is to be redeveloped after this year's Hungarian Grand Prix. And one of the things that I was going to do and forgot to do between the sessions was find out when the first Hungarian Grand Prix was, 1980. What was it? Because this circuit must be well over 30 years old now. It's resurfaced for the first time just before the 2016 season. So this new track surface is now in its second racing season, or heading into its third racing season, 2 seasons into it. So still a little green after the winter. Lots and lots of support races. Some of them, unfortunately, have left a bit of muck on the circuit, but they are helping to rubber it up a bit.
Yeah, exit of turn 1 appears to have got a bit of oil on the exit. I think there's something let go, and yeah, that sure won't cause too many problems in free practice too.
Gabriele Tarquini, our championship leader, won 2 of the 3 races in Marrakesh, the season opener. Thierry Björk in second place in the points, the reigning world touring car champion, ahead of Jean-Carl Vernet, third in points. He is the man who won last year's TCR International Series. So Vernet knows the cars, knows the format of the 3-race weekend, and doesn't know the tracks. Björk knows the tracks and doesn't know the cars. And ahead of them, Tarquini, responsible as the development driver of the Hyundai. So he knows the car and knows the tracks. Gordon Shedden was saying, well, I don't know the tracks, I don't know the cars, but what I do know is how to win a championship in a 3-race weekend. And he was saying about he received offers to come to World Touring Cars, or, you know, inquiries about it a couple of times. He said this big sea change was the chance to step up from British Touring Cars to the world stage, where everything was new for everybody. Nobody knew everything. Some people would know the tracks, some people would know the cars, and he wouldn't know either. But he felt that if he was ever going to make the change, this was the one opportunity he had, and so he's grabbed it with both hands.
It's a very good point, because it's a different mentality of racing if you're racing over three races over one weekend. And the qualifying format as well was obviously very different from British Touring Cars in the past. With a new format with 2 qualifyings, it's a little bit closer to that. But yeah, it's a big move. But it's in my mind, it's the right thing for Gordon to do now. He's kind of achieved everything he needs to achieve in British Touring Cars, and you know, stepping up to the world platform can only be a good thing.
Well, you look outside of, you know, being a big fish in a small pond, don't you? You know, let's not underestimate how hard it is to win the British Touring Car Championship. It is still really tough because of the number of races and how level the car playing field is. But you do look at, you know, the Rob Huffs as a Brit, or, you know, the names, the Ivan Mullers, the Gabriele Tarquinis, you know, all these guys, the James Thompsons, and you go, well, how good am I compared to them? You know, I know I can win in the UK, given a fair chance and a following wind. I can get the job done. How good am I compared to, you know, to names that, I was talking to him and he said, you know, it's quite bizarre to be in the same room in a press conference with Gabriele Tarquini, because I had his Alfa on my bedroom wall when I was a kid at school. You know, it's that sort of meeting of the generations. And Flash now is of an age, like we were talking with Norby and the young Hungarians, where he will be on kids' bedroom walls, or will have been, that he's now going to be racing against, you know, of that era. So we've got 3 generational groups of drivers, and, you know, every age in between as well. So there's all of that, you know, you put yourself into that equation.
Yeah, absolutely. And apart from anything else, it's an amazing thing to go and do, to go and race around the world in different circuits, and they're very, very different to British tracks. So that was when I moved from British Touring Cars to World Touring Car, that was a massive thing I noticed, and it was an amazing experience, if nothing else.
Yes, exactly. It's a life experience, isn't it? Great view on board with Norbert Mikulits. And you see that they are all 3-pedal cars. Predominantly the clutch is just for leaving the pit lane, and you use the accelerator and the brake like in a go-kart, you know, 1 foot over each pedal, and trying not to use them simultaneously unless it particularly works well. So coming down the straight, you see him coming towards you, and how late does he get on the brakes? Just before that white line, so that's just before the 50 metres, bleeds off the brakes as the car rolls into the corner. And then basically in these cars, like any other racing car, if you're not full on the brakes or full on the throttle, you're wasting time in that transition, aren't you? Yeah,
you'll see there's an initial strike of the throttle pedal he's doing in the middle of the corner, just to especially get the turbo going, to get everything starting to spin up a little bit and get the car moving forward as well when he's bleeding out of the brake pedal. That's one of the benefits, the big benefits of being able to left foot brake.
Yeah.
He didn't do it there.
Yeah, well, a little bit. No, it's a shorter corner there, turn 4. Corner 5, though, you'll pick it up, balance the car, and then as soon as he's got the car settled, gives it the full noise. Well, Norby, the fastest man in the first session. Let's see what the team are saying to him. Okay, didn't hear that at all. Jan Erlaché, by the way, fastest at the moment. Purple on the first flying lap. 1:53.2. Let's see if we can catch up with what the team were telling Norby about track limits at turn 4. And that's the upper left-hander. Yeah, so telling him about track limits at turn 4. So in fact his second flying lap was disallowed for going fully inside turn 4, inside the curbs or inside the white line, over the curbs. Curbs are very wide there. So he was top of the timing sheets and he's now not. He's 24th. That's what a difference is. So his only actual lap is his out lap until now, where he goes back to the top of the timing sheets. So we'll wait to see if that lap sticks or not.
53.1, so slightly slower than he was this morning in the first free practice, but we kind of maybe expect a bit of that early on in this session. It's a little bit warmer now, the track temperature's coming up a little bit, and we know the nature of this circuit is that it can be very understeery, and with big temperatures it's not helpful. So
yeah, well, I would think possibly that this session will be quicker than the first one because the track's a little bit rubbered in. We might see a fresh rubber run or two before the end, getting ready for qualifying. But by the time we get to qualifying 12:30, I think track temperature may not have helped. There's Thiago Monteiro in the garage at Boots and Chignon. And the man in the car for him at the moment is Benjamin Lessen. Boots and Chignon, one of the new teams. Again, another team that's got a lot of experience in sports car and prototype racing, but relatively new to the touring car business. Originally set up by Thierry Boots, and the Belgian Grand Prix driver, and one of his main sponsors, and it's now actually run by Thierry's sister. And Thierry's son, Kevin, is one of the race engineers as well.
You see that mid-corner oversteer from Huffy there. And again, it looks, do you remember when the Chevrolets used to originally run that rising rate roll steer on the front? Yeah. And in the middle of the corner where you wouldn't expect to see the back breakaway, that was what we were seeing. Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Rob's managed to engineer something like that under the car. Yeah, nice bit of rotation in the middle of the corner to help save the front tyres, because the front tyres do everything. So the closer the car is to spinning in the corner, the more the back slides around, the less the fronts actually have to steer. But there's a happy medium between that and then overheating the rear tyre, so you can't stop it sliding around. Yeah, it's a little bit, it comes back to what we were saying about the pedal cam shot we saw before with Midgelitz. That is also why you have that initial strike on the throttle. When you come off the brake, all the weight's loaded onto the nose, the back will start to be loose, you turn in, start to rotate a little bit, and then you just stop it sliding too much with a little strike on the throttle pedal. Get the car to pull itself through the corner. So in these cars, the horse is pulling the cart, whereas traditionally in racing cars, the horse is pushing the cart, obviously. Now that's the only rule that I was ever told when I bought my Mini is if in doubt, don't bottle out. Try and allow the car to drive you through the corner and out of harm's way. And yeah, lifting off side, the last thing you need to be doing is... Lifting's not really your friend in a front-wheel drive car. No. Oh dear, now somebody's lost a little bit of a wheel arch flick. This is one of the... Oh, Frederick Vervish. Now that's quite a large bit of wheel arch came off the back of the... Looks like the back of the front arch there. And all these sort of fairly non-structural bits of body, but they do... They do bring air out. The low pressure there is to allow the air to be dragged out from under the bonnet and out through the wheel arches as well. See a lot of cooling air ducts going in on the top of the bonnet, because the turbocharged engines, the temperatures in there get quite insane, don't they? Yeah, it's about creating negative airspace almost, so it sucks the air out rather than forcing air in necessarily, because that then makes the car act like a parachute. So these negative spaces you see on the back are to try and create a suction effect by the air going across the surface. Yeah. So Matto Homela back into the DG Sport garage, or into the pit lane with his Peugeot. And everybody being studious to avoid that bit of debris. Full course yellow. Now this is something again that's been introduced into touring cars from sports car racing, where everybody then gets down onto their 80 km/h limiter and they meander around, and that allows marshals the freedom to go and run in and grab bits of errant car or whatever else needs doing. Whole errant cars sometimes, without cars whizzing round and then suddenly, hopefully, slowing down for a yellow flag at the bit that they're trying to protect. So
Marshals are fully protected. And in the race, of course, it means that nobody wins and nobody loses. You don't lose any space.
That looked like it was his entire right rear arch that came off there.
It might well have been. We didn't see that side of the car, did we, as he went past the camera. At the moment, then, Norbert Mikelit's fastest from Jan Erlaché. So that's Hyundai ahead of Honda. Rob Huff third, Golf. Fourth, Daniel Nagy, Hyundai. Fifth, Gabriel Tarquini, Hyundai. Sixth, James Thompson, Honda. Seventh, and still in the top 10 again, as he was in the first session, Aurélien Comte, COM. And he is the fastest of the Peugeots. Benjamin Sen in 8th place in the Honda. 9th, Zolt Szabo in the Zengo Motorsport Cupra, so the best of the Cupras. And in 10th place, Ted Björk in his Hyundai. And we go green, so everybody comes off the limiter and picks up the throttle. At least you hope they do. Best of the Alphas, Fabrizio Giovanardi in 13th. What manufacturer haven't we talked about then? No, best of the Audis is... where's the Audis?
Shedden's there in 16th, and Panis just above him.
Yeah, Panis in 15th and Shedden in 16th. Panis for Come To You Racing, as Fredrik Verbisch is running for, and Flash, the better of the two Leopard Racing Lukoil cars, he with Jean-Carl Vernet. Vernet was up in the top 10. He was in the top 6, wasn't he? In first free practice, just isn't there yet. He's done basically a couple of out and in laps, and that's it. His fastest lap, Vernet, is a 1 minute 55, and currently we're at 1:53 and change.
Likewise with Oriola as well. It looks like Pepe hasn't actually managed to complete a lap. It perhaps has gone out, and then as the yellow flags have come out, he must have come back into the pit.
Yeah. Well, a few cars with new tyres on. Norbert Nagy has put new tyres onto his Myra Racing Hyundai. Huff, new tyres on the Golf. Oriola, new tyres on the Cupra. There's Esteban Guerrieri. And Guerrieri, missing from page 1. He's only 24th at the moment. So again, that All-Inkle Motorsport, Munich Motorsport car not going as quickly yet as it will do. A little bit tentative going down into turn 2. Car didn't seem entirely keen on turning in just there. Behind him you can see the yellow colours of Tom Coronel. Coronel, the other car in the Boots and Gignon garage. Now Guerrieri is all over it. Oh dear, very wide, 4 wheels off going up to turn 4. Out of turn 4 up to turn 5 rather, on the exit of turn 4. So that will have cost him a qualifying lap possibly. Do need to speak to Mirek and say exactly which corners are going to be the ones. Definitely turn 4 will. You've absolutely got to think exit of turn 9. There's plenty of time to be had by running wide there.
Yeah, there's quite a lot on the insides of the corners as well, where you can make a bit of an advantage. And like I was saying before, I think they should either move the tyre stack there or just accept that it's going to happen.
I think, yes, we'd sort of just accept that it's going to happen, basically. Esteban Guerrieri slowing right down after sort of messing up turn 4 and what would have been a quick lap. So the first, he was 1400ths away from the fastest lap, and by the second sector, he'd rolled right off the throttle. Tom Coronel went by him, so Coronel's starting to build up to speed. And Coronel, at the moment, hasn't done a quick lap. This is his first attempt. He's 26th.
The Hondas look like they could be quite a challenge around here.
I think
P2
so.
at the moment.
I think so. And Huffy as well in the Golf. I think part of Marrakesh was that the Hyundais, none of them suffered new car problems except for Norby, who had all the new car problems of 4 new cars foisted onto his car. He had an electrical failure in 1 free practice, a wheel fell off in qualifying, the car set light to itself in one of the races. It properly was all new car issues, none of them driver induced, but just new car issues.
Huffy just set the fastest first sector of everyone, so he's still out there pushing hard.
Now Berton running out wide. That's the exit of turn 9, and that was probably just about survivable. Didn't quite see where the inside tyres went. They may have been inside the white line. Nathaniel Berton raced here in GP2 as well as World Series by Renault, and his only GP2 win came here. Look at that right rear tyre, how much squish there is. Look how low the pressure, the minimum pressure on the Yokohama is. It's almost like it was down on the rim.
Yeah, it did have a lot of roll there, didn't it?
Car 20 has just had a lap disallowed, and that's Denis Dupont, so his best lap for track limits at turn 4. Basically, it's 4 wheels on the inside at turn 4. Oh, taping the door shut. Well, how are you going to get him out then? We'll worry about that later. Ivan Muller is that? I was trying to see which way. That's the passenger door, so actually he can get out the driver's door anyway. So Huffy, purple first sector, green first sector, and he goes second quickest. So he is now 65 thousandths behind Norman Mikulic's fast lap. And a 1:53.2 is not as quick as we went in the first session, but it is, I think, quicker than he went. Esteban Guerrieri behind him comes across the line going third quickest. And certainly we are still comfortably inside the outstanding lap record, which is a 1:54.25. So still the fastest 9 are inside last year's TCR lap record. Ted Björk on a quick lap as well in his white Ivan Muller Racing Hyundai. 10th away in the first sector, nearly 2 tenths up in the second as we watch Daniel Nagy in the Myra Hyundai.
Björk.
Yep, Björk goes fastest of all, 52.79.
Great lap.
So that's good. Norby did a 52.6 in the first session, didn't he? So you'd suggest that was a new tyre lap from Ted Björk. Daniel Nagy looking very nicely balanced there. 5th quickest, as another lap's been disallowed, and that was for 69, who is Jean-Carl Vernet. And Daniel Nagy improves again to go 4th fastest. So here are the big names to conjure with at the top of the leaderboard. Ted Björk, World Touring Car Champion. Norbert Mikulic, hometown hero. Rob Huff, former World Touring Car Champion. Daniel Nagy, young lad from Hungary.
First time out, never raced or rallied.
Well, raced in the World Touring Car Championship for the last 2 seasons. Well, 1.5 of racing with Zengo Motorsport in their Hondas. But definitely with the front, I mean, with no disrespect to Zengo, in the last couple of series of World Touring Car Championship, a Honda was not, a privately run Honda was not going to be a race winner in many hands. And yeah, Daniel Nagy now. And you see, that's the great thing here, is that the playing field is so much more even. Like Tarquini said in Marrakesh, if you want to beat the car, you can go and buy one. It's not like nobody can get one. You can go out and buy a Hyundai, and that's exactly what Myra have done. And Daniel Nagy has used it to very good effect. Yes, they've tested here recently. Yes, they know the track. He knows the track. But, you know...
That's the beauty of this new format. You know, it is a lot more accessible. You don't need millions and millions of pounds of development behind you and a manufacturer to be anywhere near the sharp end of the grid. You can go out and buy a car, and if you can develop it to the level that the front guys are running at, then fair play, you should be up there.
Absolutely right. Lots more track laps disallowed. Who's just lost a lap? Guerrieri's last lap was just pinged. Car number 30, that's Gabriele Tarquini. His last lap was pinged. Car number 52, that's Gordon Shedden. His last lap was pinged as well. So Flash still down in 16th. He has done a better lap, but it was just not legal. Which means he was just probably inside turn 4. Almost all of these are turn 4. Benjamin Lecen keeps it clean just about in the exit of the 14th and final corner. And he comes across the line to go 13th. Young Belgian driver, another one of our teenagers. Youngest man in the field, actually. Attila Tassi is not the youngest at 18 and 6 months. Benjamin Lecen is still younger than him. There's the BRC Hyundai team. And that's running the 2 cars for Norbert Mikulic and for Gabriele Tarquini.
Norby's on a run here.
On a mission again, isn't he?
Fastest first 2 seconds of anyone.
I don't know how much you're picking up from the microphones, but in the background of everything, all Harry and I can hear is just air horns constantly tooting every time that Norby appears, the door opens, or there's a picture of him on the screen. And of course, the big screen above the pit lane facing the grandstands is showing you these pictures as well.
There was one of the Alphas looked like it had broken down there on the way into the pit. I can see it moving slowly there.
An unreliable Alfa Romeo?
No.
Yeah, don't dare say that in the presence of British Touring Car Championships lead commentator David Anderson. He's a dyed-in-the-wool alphaholic, and he will have, although he does privately admit, because he now owns like old Alphas as well as modern ones, he does, yeah, okay, I would have taken it, but it wouldn't start this morning.
Part of the charm, though, isn't it?
Well, it's character, isn't it? It's character, you know. Part of the charm. It's like Donald Trump. Part of the charm is when he breaks down. Frederick Vervisch on a better lap, but the second sector, 2.5 seconds away still. Vervisch 25th of the 27 cars. Only Esteban Guerrieri and Pepe Oriola are slower. And Vervisch now goes a little quicker than Denis Dupont. Aurélien Comte, 6th fastest in this Peugeot. He's really... I mean... the week before Marrakesh, or 2 weeks before Marrakesh, when we were at the media days in Barcelona, Eric Neve was definitely downplaying their hopes. But I think they were secretly very surprised and impressed at how well Aurélien Comte went at a circuit he'd never seen before in Marrakesh. He hasn't got an awful lot of experience here either. But he's doing a very good job. Ivan Muller, of course, knows all the circuits well in this championship. Former British Touring Car Champion, former French Touring Car Champion, won the British Formula 2 Championship back in the 80s. And raced up to Formula 3000. Followed his sister into the business, because Kathy Muller, the older of the siblings, was a racing driver before Ivan. She raced up to Formula 3000 as well. Very successful in Formula 3. She was very quick in Formula 3000. And she might have been the next woman to get into Formula 1, except it just never quite happened. Never quite happened for Ivan either.
I didn't realise Ivan followed here. I thought I assumed it wrongly.
No,
Obviously, it was the other way around.
She was the first of the Muller family to make it in. And now, of course, he's running his own team, he's run 3 different championships. He's running these cars here, running in the European Le Mans Series and Le Mans Cup, and racing GTs as well. Man who was famously banned from Trofeo Andros after winning 10 championships on the bounce. Please don't come back anymore. We're losing all of the rest of our competitors. Nobody will come. Yeah, yes, exactly. So Ivan Muller with that lap went 5th fastest.
Morbidelli just put in a fairly quick time there.
Yes, he has. 9th. I tell you what, if the Alphas can be in the top 10, that's very good indeed. Car 66 just losing its last lap, and that was Zolt Szabo in his Zengo Motorsport Cupra. And there is Gianni Morbidelli. Norby still on used tyres, I hear from Andros Lantos in the pit lane, although he did tell me 14 minutes ago Norby was on new tyres, so maybe it's the same set and he hasn't gone for another new set. And what happens now with 2 sets of qualifying and 3 races and only 24 tyres for the weekend is that you can use them now, or you can have fresher sets for the race.
Yeah.
And since it's unlikely that we're going to use wet tyres this weekend, in the same way that it's unlikely they're going to use slicks in Donington, you will want to be as abstemious as you can in free practice.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, Martin, and that's the difficult part, because this is the key area where they're trying to set the car up for qualifying and for the races. And it's very, very hard to set up to get your cambers right, for example, when you're running on old rubber, which won't generate the same level of grip that you're about to get from a new tyre.
Looking at the Sebastian Loeb Racing pit wall, and SLR running the Golfs for Rob Huff and Mehdi Banani. There is Mehdi. And where's he at the moment? 12th fastest. Oh, Tilatasi, 8th fastest. That's a very good run from him. Gianni Morbidelli comes back in, so he's still in the top 10. And in tomorrow's free qualifying 1, that would push him through into Q2. I think they'd be very happy with that. Jean-Carl Vernet has found the windscreen wipers. Oh, no, good. Now he's switched them up. He speeded them. See, he was trying to turn them off there. He actually speeded them up.
Another 3 horsepower there.
Yes. And he's following Tom Coronel around. Vernet, 24th of 27. And teammate Gordon Shedden, 22nd of 27 cars. So the WRT cars not going well. I went to have a quick chat with Flash just between the sessions, but he was busy with the engineer, head down over the laptop. And they all looked fairly busy. The team being run by Pierre Dudonné. Let's hear from Yann Erlaché, 7th fastest at the moment.
Okay, new tyres on the front, very good rears on. The cold tyres, you'll have to do warm-up on the outlap. Copy?
Well, now that's a point that's worth pointing out. We mentioned in the first free practice session how a lot of the teams that know the cars and know TCR, Jean-Carl Vernet, for instance, although he's converted from a Golf to an Audi since last year, what he doesn't know is the tyre. The TCR International Series ran on a Michelin, and this series running on a Yokohama. So it's a different feel, it does different things, it warms up in a different way. And warming up is important because in World Touring cars last year, they had tyre blankets, so the tyres were preheated. Now the only preheating they get is sitting out in the sunshine, so you've got to bring them in.
Yeah, and that again, it's another big plus point for Gordon Shedden coming into this, because obviously in British Touring cars, you've never been allowed tyre warmers, so you're always used to getting the tyres generating the heat early on, and how you put the heat in is very, very important as to how the longevity of the tyre lasts, because if you can get more temperature in sooner, which is ideal for qualifying, but if that then becomes a front left race tyre, that definitely won't last as long as one you've looked after on the rear. Yeah,
you've got to know how quick you can get the heat into it for qualifying, but also what that heat cycle does to the longevity is exactly right. There's a payback for everything in life, you know. Age tells us that, doesn't it, Age?
Yes, exactly.
So, you know, you might get that quick qualifying lap, but in the end, you might lose a race because of it. Lap 9 for car 9. Every time we see a car number, I have to look back at my timing, at my sheet, because I can't remember who any of the numbers are now. Norby's still 5. Ivan famously used to be 68, but isn't anymore because he wasn't racing last year, so Yann Erlaché has taken that, because that's the same region of France that they live in. So Ivan's now not 68, he's now 48, which is his age. And that obviously is why Fabrizio Giovanardi is 88. And I was saying, Jean-Carl Vernet is 69. I was saying, has he got that for the same comedy reasons that James Thompson always used to have, 69? But no, he's from Lyon, and that is postcode area 69 of France. So that's his.
That's interesting.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all sorts of reasons why these things come around. Gabriele Tarquini's got 30 because it's the Hyundai i30. See what they did there?
Yeah.
Not because he's actually 30. I said to him, is that because it's your age? He said, yeah, that's how I feel.
Yeah, 30 in the head.
So excited about this. So excited.
And Tassi is 19 because he's 19?
Well, he hopes to be 19 soon.
Yeah.
Yes. No, he's definitely not 19 yet. He's still 18. So there's all sorts of reasons. You know, drivers have sort of historic history. They like to keep a number and whatever. So, yeah, all sorts of odd reasons that people have numbers. But they are there. There are some. Aurélien Comte, 7. I have no idea why.
It quite often comes down to, you know, if you've had a good race or you've won a championship under a certain number, you'll go with that one. Then the next championship you move to, somebody already has that number.
Yep.
So you then get the next one. You think, then you have a good year with that one. That becomes your new lucky number. And yeah, it's a strange old business.
Well, you know, there'll be lots of people that want 46 because of Valentino Rossi. You know, when lots of the current drivers who are growing up, 27 was a number to have because of Gilles Villeneuve, and there's all those sorts of things that, you know, that tie in with it. And as you say, yeah, sometimes, you know, drivers are a superstitious bunch. If you have a car that you do well in, it's got a number, then you want to keep the number, whether it's 81 or 3 or 9 or whatever.
Absolutely.
So, you know, Daryl O'Young always used to like things with 8s in, because 8 is a very
big number in China.
Yeah, very lucky number in China. So 8, 88, 888. You know, 888 would be glory for anybody with a Chinese frame of mind.
Ivan Muller's obviously on a bit of a charge there. I wonder, we saw him before, he was obviously he was pushing hard in the first 2 sectors, bettered his own personal best, and then came in the 3rd sector.
Yep.
So I would imagine he's obviously gone on a fresher set of tyres, perhaps not brand new, but a fresher set than he was on before, and doing a dummy qualifying run here.
Yeah. And another quick run from James Thompson, who was in the top half dozen in the first session. He goes 6th quickest. That's his best lap.
Muller, fastest.
Yep. Ooh. And a clean lap as well. Benjamin Lassen just lost a lap, as did, talking of car number 27 John Philippi. Wonder if he was he's too young to be a Villeneuve fan. Wonder if he was a retrospective Villeneuve fan. Well, checkered flag is out at the end of free practice 2. As one of the more experienced drivers in the field. I was trying hard to dig myself out of that hole. I think I may have just about succeeded. Ivan Muller, the gaffer tape special.
You can never write him off, can you? I mean, he looked like he was struggling a bit in the start of this session and in the previous session, and then...
No, he's working on things quietly, isn't he?
Last lap, there's the gauntlet down. Beat that, guys.
Yeah. So Muller and Björk, the 2 YMR cars. So Ivan Muller Racing first in the Ivan Muller Racing... I was going to say Chevrolet there. Ivan Muller Racing Hyundai. Ted Björk second in the Ivan Muller Racing Hyundai. Norbert Michelisz third in the BRC Hyundai. Jan Erlaché, here he is, 4th in the Munich Motorsport Honda. Rob Huff, again, you see, just saying Munich Motorsport and then following it with Honda, I have to think hard to get the right car with the right team, with the right driver. Rob Huff 5th in the Sebastian Loeb Racing Golf, Volkswagen. Daniel Nudge 6th in the Myra Hyundai. So that's 4 Hyundais in the top 6. James Thompson 7th in the Munich Motorsport Honda. Aurelien Comte 8th in the DG Sport Peugeot. 9th Gabriele Tarquini in his Hyundai. And 10th Attila Tassi. So Phil Barker listening intently in the Hyundai garage. You see the odd Hyundai face there, carrying laptops around as well.
You see also Björk have a bit of a slide there in the middle of the corner.
So it's kind of understeer, oversteer, understeer, oversteer, understeer, and that's that fine line you're always treading, isn't it? Where the back, you want the back to be doing some steering, but just not too much.
It's difficult here because you've got a couple of big stops with hard turns afterwards, but you've then got the long radius corners where you really do want to unhook the rear end.
Yeah.
But you need it to let go in the right place and not in the wrong place.
Yeah. And that's the fine art, isn't it? Yeah. Getting it slidey, anyone can do that. Getting it slidey in the right place, that's what you need. So we've documented where the best of the Hondas is, where the best of the Hyundais is, at the top of the table. The best of the Peugeots is 8th. The best of the Volkswagens is 5th, Rob Huff. Where are we now? Morbidelli 11th at the end of that session in the better of the 2 Alphas. That's good. Nathaniel Berton, the best of the Audis, in 12th. So at the moment, only 1 Audi in the top 12. They've got 6 dogs in this fight. So there you go. Hyundai, Hyundai, Hyundai. Honda, Volkswagen, Hyundai, Honda, Peugeot. And then Hyundai and Honda. And you have to get to page 2 once you get outside the top 10 before you get to the Alpha, which is better than any of the Audis. And then Norbert Nudge for Zengo is the best of the Cupras ahead of John Philippi, who's being run by the Campos Racing team.
Yeah, so it's interesting, isn't it? It seems that platform isn't quite working with the Cupra, the Audi and the Golfs, apart from Huffy, who's managed to get it up there, up into 5th.
And given that the Cupra and the Audi and the Golf are predominantly the same chassis, then it should be possible. Well, there's Daniel Nudge, great looking helmet livery in the Myra Hyundai. Well, let's get down to the pit lane, and Alex Legui is with the fastest man here, Ivan Muller.
Ivan Muller Racing had a fantastic Marrakesh at a circuit that really is very hard to overtake. So what do you feel like you can do here in Budapest?
You know, it's a tricky circuit, so it's important to be on the front on qualifying, because then during the race it will be very tough to overtake. So we struggled this morning because we had some breaks to bed because we couldn't do it before to do this race, so we didn't have time to work properly. But we could still set a time.
What's the circuit like? We've seen quite a few of the drivers struggling with track limits. That's something that's going to come up a lot.
Yeah, there is few track limit issue, but if you take care, it's our job, it's our problem to stay in.
Fair enough. Thank you, Ben.
Says a man who's got a history of being pinged for track limits at Turn 4, though a great story that I'll tell off air one day if you ask about getting away with it. So Formula Racing fastest with 2 Hyundais at the top of the pile in free practice 2. Next up we go qualifying before today's first race of the weekend. Qualifying, the cars will be on track at 12:30 Central European time, 11:30 in the UK, 10:30 Greenwich Mean Time. Convert that to your time zone wherever you are. Thank you for being with us. From Alex Le Gouy for Harry Folkard and the rest of the World Touring Car team, World Touring Car Cup team here. We will be back at 12:30. I'm Martin Hemming saying thank you for being with us. We'll see you then. Bye for now.